Government agencies face relentless daily demands to meet the public's needs and expectations, but they routinely struggle to do so due to aging technology platforms and other issues. While agencies want to modernize those systems, it also requires understanding and addressing the underlying processes and the art of the possible. Successful modernization programs then ultimately require a combination of business process expertise and technical know-how. I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and here to talk about one state Medicaid agency's successful modernization journey is John Joaquin, Global Government Alliance Leader at EY. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Wyatt. I appreciate the opportunity to speak about a great customer success.
Terrific. So let's set the stage a little. What were some of the specific issues that EY was tasked with in addressing this particular state's Medicaid agency's issues?
First and foremost, I think the state wanted to bring a more consumer-like experience to the members of the Medicaid program that they support. And so in doing so, they had to modernize their systems. These are old legacy systems dating back to the 1960s on an IBM mainframe and COBOL, and it didn't give them the flexibility they wanted. And us as consumers, we expect something when we're dealing with an organization that's providing services. So they were looking to have an easier end-to-end consumer-like process for their Medicaid beneficiaries, they call them members, and for their employees. So that was important to them. Also, there's a mandate by the federal government that these systems be modernized to make them less expensive, more reflective of the needs of their constituents, and to lower the risk. So to take them and break them into more discrete parts, the federal government is actually funding a lot of this modernization. And it's not a formal mandate, you must, but it is something that comes with a lot of incentives for that modernization. And so this state looked at the different options out there, and they chose to go with ServiceNow. So they made the decision to go with the ServiceNow platform because of its capabilities, it's proven in the market, and to be the first in the country to modernize using this approach. So very innovative approach.
Can you unpack a little bit more about what led this state to go with ServiceNow as their platform to modernize, and why EY was chosen to build their new Medicaid systems on that platform?
I would suggest that replacing everything is difficult. Each system has its constituents. It has folks that are using those programs and those applications successfully. And it's a big undertaking to just rip those things out and replace them with another monolithic system. So why they chose ServiceNow was it's the ability to bridge these different systems using a common interface for an end-to-end business workflow. And so that was they used that as the ability to modernize aging systems, but also put this consumer interface on top that allowed for self-service, 24/7, 365 self-service, anytime, anywhere. And that's unique to the way government has typically been delivering solutions like this. So, and why did they choose EY? Well, it was a competitive procurement, and we were able to demonstrate our ability as a firm to handle a complex system modernization like this. So it's not just technology, it's also organizational change management and how we could help their employees and members actually use these systems, because they are going to be a little bit newer. But a lot of us in our consumer world are used to dealing with organizations via our phone, the web, chat capabilities. So those things are going to be deployed here. And we submitted a winning proposal based upon our capabilities as a firm, our credentials in helping other large global organizations modernize complex systems like this.
Can you just briefly summarize what was ultimately implemented? What made it more modern compared to what that agency had before?
So think about the systems they had. It was one system on a mainframe with a blue screen that had menu options that were, essentially typing at a prompt. So now what you have is a web-based system that someone can go in through a portal and it knows who you are and what you want to do through authentication and the enrollment process. So in that, you can choose the services that you're interested in. So in Medicaid, enrolling in getting a benefit, it checks your eligibility against the existing systems, and then it moves your workflow process across the different applications, different approvals. So underlying what we implemented for them was this system for the basic infrastructure. But we are implementing other things that provide human resource management, some of their just unique business processes, grievances and hearing, and a number of other things that give them a platform for other modernization over time. As I noted, Medicaid is a modular system or is becoming modular, and some of those other systems are not in the scope of our work here, but they're contemplating that. So we expect our client to lead in the market of innovation by looking for other opportunities to use the platform and that common data structure, that common workflow engine, and to capture data from other systems that don't need to be replaced, but can be integrated in along the way.
And then can you share or talk about some of the initial tangible results the state is starting to see, or that at least expects AY to deliver when this initial phase is complete?
I think, first and foremost, they're uh, getting rid of the old system that was at risk because of, the technology that it's built on. Not that mainframes won't exist in the future, but the actual software was developed long ago and was hard to manage and had a lot of risk to the client. But what they expect to see is things that modern businesses expect as well: higher customer satisfaction, lower cost of business, faster time to resolution. So a lot of these things are really in delivering services to the member, but there are other internal processes, and so those will go faster. The data will be more accurate. They'll be less at risk to cyber attacks and things like that. So, they're at the beginning, or let's say the middle of the journey that we're taking with them, but they do look to have this expand into those other modules like patient portals, member enrollment, claims management, uh, integrated eligibility, and things that are all part of the Medicaid process.
And then lastly, what lessons would you say other public sector leaders might take away from what this state agency's modernizations efforts has led them to? And talk a little also about why are alliances so important for these journeys?
Yeah, I think that a big takeaway is that using a web-based approach like this on a modern platform, it's a platform as a service, so it allows agencies to develop multiple applications, workflows, business processes, and modernize those, connecting data sources, providing that common interface. And so I think you see in the market that state clients are using ServiceNow for their IT infrastructure. This is another use case into more into the mission that can provide value and leverage that initial investment. I think also, building large applications, point applications where you're the only owner of that investment can be risky. And that's a trend that all government leaders are seeing. How can we build reusable components, share capabilities, and have them on common modern infrastructure that they don't have to necessarily procure, implement, and support. So I think those are some of the benefits. And as we service a younger constituents now, they're expecting the same experience they get when they're on their phone buying something. They want to interact with government that way. They don't really want what I think older folks like myself are used to, waiting on hold, going through a call center phone tree. I want it anytime, anywhere, and I want it now. It's the impatience of of the newer generation, as my kids will often say. But I think that's some of the capabilities that are, what government should look at. As it relates to alliances, well, this is really an ecosystem out there. There's no one size fits all. So the ability to work with different technology companies and to use, firms like EY to help them in that journey. It's a complex world, and having an organization like EY, I think, is important because we can help make the technology work, make it work successfully, and help an organization with areas that they might not have thought about, like organizational change management. I think is always critical when you're bringing in new systems to a stable and a little older workforce, which government typically is. And ServiceNow has been a great organization to work with. The client chose ServiceNow. We have a strong program with them, and we're working to innovate and modernize a really complex world in government. And I think this will be the way of the future for a lot of state organizations and agencies.
Well, you make two great points there. One is meeting the customer where they're at today is really important. And number two, I think the pace at which technology continues to advance more quickly than ever before, you really need kind of a more agile and combination of expertise, both in terms of the processes and the technology, to really help state agencies keep up with those customer demands. So thank you for illuminating that. And John Joaquin, thank you so much for just joining us and sharing some of your experience in helping a state Medicaid agency really get moving on the path of modernization to improve customer service. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Wyatt, for having me.